September the 1st arrived far too quickly. Harry woke early, heart pounding with a mix of nerves and excitement. He dressed in his new robes, packed his trunk one last time, and double-checked that Hedwig's cage was safely shut. Uncle Vernon grunted as he dropped Harry off at King's Cross Station. "Platform 9 3/4, he said with a sneer. "There's no such thing. Good luck finding it, boy." And with that, the Dursleys drove away, leaving Harry alone with his trolley and a confused expression. He stared up at the platform numbers, 9, 10, but where was 9 3/4? Just then, a group of red-haired children rushed past, all chattering excitedly. One of them said something about Muggles and Hogwarts. Harry followed them at a distance, heart racing. "Packed with Muggles today," said the mother, a kind-looking woman. Harry gathered his courage and stepped closer. "Excuse me. I'm going to Hogwarts too. Could you tell me how to get onto the platform?" She smiled warmly. "Of course, dear. It's Ron's first time too." She turned to one of the boys. "All you have to do is walk straight at the barrier between platforms 9 and 10. Bit nervous the first time, but you'll be fine." Harry watched in amazement as one by one, the children vanished through the barrier. Now it was his turn. He gripped the trolley tightly, took a deep breath, and broke into a run. Just as he thought he'd crash into the wall, it vanished. And suddenly, he was standing in front of a scarlet steam engine puffing great clouds of smoke. A sign read, "Hogwarts Express, 11 a.m. The platform buzzed with students, parents, owls, and cats. The air was thick with excitement and magic. Harry found an empty seat near the end of one carriage and began to relax for the first time in days. Moments later, the red-haired boy from before knocked on the door. "Mind if I sit here?" he asked. "Sure," Harry said. "I'm Ron. Ron Weasley." "Harry Potter." Ron's eyes widened. "Are you really? I mean, do you have the scar and everything?" Harry lifted his bangs. "Wicked," Ron whispered. And just like that, Harry made his first real friend. The train chugged through the countryside. They shared sweets from the trolley, chocolate frogs, Bertie Bott's every flavor beans, including a particularly nasty one that tasted like spinach, and Ron's homemade sandwiches. As the sun began to set, the train slowed. "We're nearly there," someone called. The students changed into their black robes. Nervous laughter and excited whispers filled the corridors. When the train stopped, Hagrid's massive frame appeared once again. Fur's years over here." Harry and Ron joined the crowd as they followed Hagrid down a dark path toward a black lake. There, waiting silently, were dozens of small boats. "No more N4 to a boat," Hagrid called. Harry, Ron, and a few others climbed into a boat, and with a lurch, they began gliding across the still, moonlit water. And then, rising in the distance like a shadowed crown, was a vast, towering castle. Turrets, towers, glowing windows. It took Harry's breath away. There it was. Hogwarts. The boats touched the shore beneath the shadow of the great castle, and the first years clambered out, craning their necks to see the towers high above them. Hagrid led them up a flight of stone steps, then knocked once on the huge oak front door. It creaked open, revealing a tall witch in emerald-green robes. Her black hair was tightly pulled back into a bun, and her expression was sharp and stern, but not unkind. "The Fur's years, Professor McGonagall," Hagrid said. "Thank you, Hagrid. I will take them from here." The first years followed her through the vast entrance hall, their footsteps echoing against the stone. The ceiling was impossibly high, the torches flickering along the walls casting shadows that danced like ghosts. "You are about to be sorted into your houses," Professor McGonagall announced. "They are called Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Your house will be like your family while you are at Hogwarts. Your triumphs will earn you points, and rule-breaking will lose them. The house with the most points at the end of the year wins the house cup. Some students shifted nervously. Harry's heart thudded. You will be sorted shortly, McGonagall said, and then disappeared through a door. The students whispered nervously among themselves. Do you think it'll hurt? One asked. What if I'm not chosen at all? Another muttered. Before they could worry further, the doors opened once again, and McGonagall returned. Form a line. Harry followed Ron, trying to calm his nerves. The line of new students entered the Great Hall, and gasped. Thousands of candles floated in mid-air, casting a warm golden glow. For long tables stretched the length of the hall, filled with students in black robes. At the far end was the staff table, and above it all, the ceiling looked like the night sky, glittering with stars. It's bewitched to look like the sky outside, Hermione Granger whispered to no one in particular. I read about it in Hogwarts, a history. At the center of the hall sat a small, three-legged stool. And on that stool was a patched, frayed, and utterly ordinary-looking hat. Until it moved. The hat twisted at the brim, opened a mouth-like fold, and began to sing. Musical note. Oh, you may not think I'm pretty. But don't judge on what you see. I'll eat myself if you can find a smarter hat than me. Musical note. The students watched in astonishment as the sorting hat sang of the 4 houses and what kind of witches and wizards each one sought. When the song ended, silence fell. Professor McGonagall stepped forward, holding a scroll. When I call your name, come forward, put on the hat, and sit on the stool. And so it began. Students were called one by one. Abbott, Hannah, was sorted into Hufflepuff. Bones, Susan, followed her. Boot, Terry, went to Ravenclaw. The boats touched the shore beneath the shadow of the great castle, and the first years clambered out, craning their necks to see the towers high above them. Hagrid led them up a flight of stone steps, then knocked once on the huge oak front door. It creaked open, revealing a tall witch in emerald-green robes. Her black hair was tightly pulled back into a bun, and her expression was sharp and stern, but not unkind. The Firs years, Professor McGonagall, Hagrid said. Thank you, Hagrid. I will take them from here. Then came Granger, Hermione. The hat barely touched her head before shouting, Gryffindor. Ron leaned over to Harry. Bet I end up in Hufflepuff, he whispered. Then. Malfoy, Draco. Draco started forward confidently. The hat took only a second. Slytherin. Harry's stomach flipped. Then, Potter, Harry. A hush fell over the hall. Harry's legs felt like jelly as he walked forward. He sat on the stool and placed the hat on his head. A voice whispered in his ear. Difficult. Very difficult. Plenty of courage, I see. Not a bad mind either. And talent, oh my, yes. And a thirst to prove yourself, interesting. Harry clenched his fists. Not Slytherin, he whispered. Not Slytherin, said the hat. Are you sure? You could be great, you know. It's all here in your head, and Slytherin will help you on the way to greatness. No? Well, if you're sure, better be, Gryffindor. The table on the far left burst into applause. Harry pulled off the hat, heart pounding with relief, and rushed to sit down among the cheering students. Ron was sorted into Gryffindor too. And as Harry looked around at his new housemates, the floating candles above, and the magical feast that had just appeared out of nowhere, he felt something he hadn't felt in a very long time.